hard to describe passion. It's either you have the passion or you don't have the passion. And coaching is something that I'm super passionate about. When I try to picture, my life or my future, it's hard for me to picture it without some sort of coaching role.
Yep.
So I think because I'm so, again, bought into the system, bought into Parisi, but really just bought into coaching and bought into, seeing the change that you can implement on the athletes you work with. And it doesn't have to be just athletes, could be adults as well. Seeing that through is you can't describe the feeling.
The floor is yours, Danny Stickna.
So, Coach Dan from Parisi Speed School in Fair Lawn, the flagship, as we like to call it, right? I've been there since 2011. Actually was brought on as an intern in August 2011. Lucky enough that I was hired in December 2011 as a performance coach. And then through time, starting off as most performance coaches do, memberships, younger athletes, high school kids here and there, and then through time built up my own book of business, private clients, small groups, and then fast forward to today, I'm the program director. So it's definitely been a long journey, but a very fruitful one, at that as well.
Yeah. So you were 2000, I was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
35.
Yeah, same.
That is
nice. All right, is that? Yeah, okay. It feels good, right?
35 is that weird age where we're old, but we're not old.
We're not, I feel old, but I feel like on the optics of 35 is a nice, good number.
Yeah.
Someone was like, wow, midlife crisis. And I was like, brother, I am not close to the midlife yet. I'm 35.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, man, my midlife is going to be 50. I'm going for a functional 100.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what so I've seen Fair Lawn since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go into Fair Lawn, there's two people that are consistent. You with Sullivan Parker.
Yep. Rich Sadiv as well.
No, it was before Rich Sadiv.
Yes. Okay.
I was before Rich. He was around deadlifting and lifting all the things and training with Martin, but I don't think he bought Fair Lawn until
2015.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like Craig was there. Like it's just Fair Lawn has changed over the years. But I think you and Sully are the only consistents over.
In terms of being on the floor coaching like that, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, you're the only two. Now, what do you attribute to the staying power?
I mean,
it's not easy.
It's not, and I don't want this to sound like I'm taking jabs at anyone, but I think Coach Sully and I are just bought in, and I think we bought in early, and then there was no other option. Not that we couldn't go anywhere else, but, this, in my opinion, is one of the greatest networks to be a part of.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of silly to leave it,
Because it's something that I see a lot of trainers going from gym to gym, different avenues, or back to PT school or whatever. Did you ever have those thoughts? I know I did. I was going to go LMT. I was going to go licensed massage therapist.
It's funny. I was actually looking into that.
Yeah.
Actually over COVID when we were furloughed. But I mean, have I had thoughts of that? For sure. But I think the biggest separator is coaches are sometimes afraid to put themselves out there, right? So, building your book of business, like we're coaches, but we're salespeople as well. And once you kind of realize that you love coaching, but you also have to sell because you have to sell yourself. If you can't sell yourself, who's going to want to train with you?
You're the business.
Exactly.
Like we're in a business, like we work for a gym or whatever it is, but you are the business, right? Yeah. And that's one thing I think is unique to Fair Lawn, that you guys all have your individual books of business, so to speak, books of business. In our gym, we were actually kind of co-opt, so to speak. Like we all would train the same, like people, like one person would write the programs, but we could all be training the person. We kind of co-opt it, which I think was unique in its own way. But I'm enamored by two things. One is consistency, how people stay consistent. And then the second thing is on a professional level in sports performance, the concept of retiring as a performance coach or retiring as a personal trainer. I'll say those two terms like synonymously. Yeah. Because I don't know anyone who's retired as a personal trainer. I don't know if you know anyone. No. To make it 15 years is a rarity. Yeah. To make it a year is a rarity. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I think is interesting. You're in a New Jersey tri-state market.
I know.
It's saturated. Mm-hmm. how do you handle that? How do you navigate a dense market? You guys have another training gym that's down the road by Geo's.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's plenty of gyms.
Yep.
How do you navigate the density?
Well, I mean, we're lucky enough that obviously the Parisi brand is the Parisi brand.
Yeah, but Parisi brands don't, just because you're a brand or a Parisi, I've seen Parisi's tank in the most affluent markets, right? And you within a brand, you're still there. But you've seen trainers tank in a brand that is the flagship.
You're right.
So give me more. Give me more.
I mean, again, this is, it's hard to describe passion. It's either you have the passion or you don't have the passion. And coaching is something that I'm super passionate about. When I try to picture, my life or my future, it's hard for me to picture it without some sort of coaching role.
Yep.
So I think because I'm so, again, bought into the system, bought into Parisi, but really just bought into coaching and bought into, seeing the change that you can implement on the athletes you work with. And it doesn't have to be just athletes, could be adults as well. Seeing that through is you can't describe the feeling, so I think that when clients or athletes experience that, parents see their kids experience that, that's the difference. Other places, in my opinion, they're collecting their check. They're not there to implement change.
Yeah. What did you go to? What was your degree in college?
So my undergrad's in kinesiology with the focus in exercise science.
So you knew the coaching route, I'm assuming, from I'm going to go to school kinesiology, I'm going to go coaching, or did you think it was going to be different?
I knew I was going to go coaching once I picked my major, which was my sophomore year.
Okay.
I didn't know what coaching looked like. In my head, I was going to be a strength conditioning coach for the New York Knicks.
Okay.
Big basketball guy. Always wanted to play. When I realized that wasn't a possibility, I was trying to figure out how else can I make this happen.
Yep.
And that was kind of the starting, I guess, influence to kind of get me into that world.
Yep.
And then, I always knew about Parisi because I grew up in a town that's 3-minute drive to the flagship. Never went there when I was a kid, but, when I decided to pick it as my internship, the private world grew for me. I never knew about that, the private sector for performance training.
Yeah.
I knew personal trainers, but, I look at them different, right? So when I look at personal training, and again, there's not a jab on personal trainers, but I always had this thing in my head where trainers make you sweat, coaches change lives. Sure. So when I realized performance coaching in the private sector is like a thing, and now I don't have to be, you're a basketball strength and conditioning coach. Now it's like, no, I'm a performance coach, and I work with basketball, football, soccer, baseball, softball, cricket, track. It doesn't matter what it is.
Did you ever have opportunities after you started with Parisi, like college opportunities present itself? Did you ever go down that road?
I've looked into it, and we've actually, Coach Sully and I have been contracted by universities to kind of be their speed providers for off seasons. Yeah. But I fell in love with the fact that as a performance coach, don't get me wrong, we work a lot of hours. If you want to get paid, you have to work, and you have to work a lot.
Yep.
But you can, in a sense, decide when you work and when you don't work.
Yeah.
When you're in the university setting, it's like, no, you're in the weight room at 5, 6 a.m. and you're probably there until 6, 7 p.m. 5 days a week, maybe even 6, depending on the school. Maybe you're even traveling with the team. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to see my kids.
Isn't that wild? Do you think like college strength conditioning is the top, and then you hear about it and it's...
Yeah, because when you think about it, I don't know the exact numbers, but like the Alabama strength conditioning coach for football making $1 million a year.
Yeah.
But putting in 90 to 100 hours a week. So when you break it down, it's $1 million a year. But when you're exactly
another ancillary, it's not.
Yeah. And now let's say you could be the greatest strength conditioning coach in the world. For whatever reason, the team doesn't perform. Now you lost your job. Exactly. So the security aspect too is not there in the same degree.
Yeah, and that's how we actually haven't covered that idea on any. I say Florida Gators. I was like, this is like, I graduated. Tim Tebow's at Florida. I'm like, Florida is so cool. I applied to go there for my master's. You have to be really smart to go to UF. That's ridiculous. I actually got into Georgia State, and had a job, like a graduate assistantship in their gym, not with the athletes, but in their gym working as just like a personal trainer in their gym. They pay for it. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. I deferred for a year because I got into Parisi. And I was like, well, I'll just make money instead of spending money. I'll see how this goes. And it went really well that I just rejected it afterwards. I was like, I'm not going to do the master's route. I'm just going to keep training. But it's exactly what you're saying, where I can make more money than I can in the college setting. I can work with athletes different, but equally as rewarding. And I think that's probably it, right? Like, you fall in love with the outcomes of your athletes that you can get at any age. We think it's going to be the professional, the high-level college. Oh my gosh, those athletes kind of aren't the best to work in my experience. I don't know if you guys in the U.S. be contracted at a university, like, did you deal with administration? Did you like it?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not the glamorous thing that we were contracted at our Parisi for 3 years at a local Division II college to be a full strength conditioning provider. And we had a staff of 4 coaches that could do it. And when we helped them hire their first strength coach, they were like, we're going to hire a strength coach in 2 seasons, whatever. We're like, cool, we'll help you do this. That's fine. They hired 1 person. They were contracting us for 4. I'm like, this poor, so yeah, they've gone 3 coaches deep since, because it's a great stepping stone job, but you're the one coach with 21 varsity teams. Like, do the math on the hours of that in the weight room. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I think that's where a lot of people in this industry think they're starting, and then all of a sudden the private sector isn't that bad.
It's not that bad. And I like how things can change without you even knowing it. Like, when I first started, again, basketball is my passion. A lot of my private clients at the time are all basketball players. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this is great. And I can work with basketball players, male, female, young, old, professional, non-professional. But all it takes is one athlete from another sport to all of a sudden explode another sport that you work with. So I had a lot of basketball clients, and then I started working with one girl who was playing soccer, happened to be pretty good. Other girls playing soccer were familiar with her, so I trained her. Now all of a sudden, literally 90% of my clients are all soccer athletes. And then now I was training one football guy, pretty good. Other people see me training him. Now, literally 90% of my clients are all football athletes. So it's like the seasons change.
Just change.
But keeps it fun, keeps it exciting, and now it's like it forces you to just stay up on your game because you're training a different athlete that needs different things.
How much of your coaching is private now?
Right now, 100%. 100% is private.
Okay. And that when did that shift? Like, how did that? Was it 100% groups to start, and then it kind of evolves as your book?
It's 100%. I mean, I was doing the membership group classes from 2011 probably up until like 2018, 19 was maybe a little more closer to half and half, and then COVID hit. And then once COVID came back, I was maybe like 20%, or when we came back from COVID, I was 20% classes, 80%, and then kind of just jumped ship from there and said, I'm all private at that point.
It's so funny because I love the overnight success. Congratulations on your full book of business you got last week. Yeah.
There's plenty of times that I'm like, I'm never going to get out of the group. But again, and then I tell my staff at Fairlawn, all it takes is one. And that one athlete is going to create a network, right? I have one, like, I'll go back to the one soccer girl that I trained. I literally have the DM still. I'll get DMs from another athlete saying, hey, I saw you train so-and-so. Can I work with you? So boom, that's a network creator. Another one sees this one. So like this one athlete, it's like a family tree of all these athletes. And she has no idea who any of them are, but it all started from one.
And that's a good pivot point, because I think a lot of people have this misconception when you work for a gym, your success is tied to the gym. I don't think that's true, right? We've talked about like your longevity, people flaming out in the same environment you're in, right? And you building the brand, your brand. Can you talk about different things that have helped build your brand, whether it be the athlete networking, whether it be like your education growth, like working on being a coach, like you've done your master's degree, like if that's helped you? Just talk about building you as a brand identity within another brand.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% up to you, right? I, again, was bought in, and I realized that I have to evolve in order for the business to also evolve. And if I don't evolve, the business and myself are going to remain stagnant. So like, if I level up, Parisi's going to level up with me. If Parisi levels up, it's got to be on me to want to continue on the rise with the company, right? So it's really got to be driven by you, which is why I think we've had coaches that came in and were pretty decent coaches, but now they're doing HVAC because they wanted to sit down and be handed the book of business. They wanted to be handed everything. And when they realize, like, no, you have to educate yourself. You have to want it. You have to improve yourself on a daily basis. They're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I thought you were just going to give it to me.
I have my degree.
Yeah.
The entitlement is real. But I think that this is where I have a gripe with the exercise science, kinesiology, because they're very clinical education paths. I believe they are designed to put you in a lab and do cancer research and other very noble things with your life. But performance coaching, personal training is not that, right? Like I was just talking with Antonio Federico, also in Vermont, didn't go to college and just started coaching and learning different movement systems and just kind of doing the thing, right? Getting into coaching. Not to say that I went to college, I'm an undergrad, but it's in business. It's not in coaching. I just liked the idea of coaching better. I work largely with a general population now, but the education system doesn't set you up for personal training. It doesn't set you up to work in a performance setting. You might learn about it, muscle interactions and anatomy. That's important, but you had to do that for yourself.
100%,
right?
I like to say, like I said, my undergrad's in kinesiology, right? So did I learn when I was in college? Absolutely. I learned, what muscles do what, leverage systems, different things like that. The Krebs cycle, which I haven't used a day since I graduated.
I still don't understand lever systems.
Lever systems always been tough.
Third, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's always been tough.
People admitting this. Don't ask me.
Yeah, no. But what I like to think about, or what I realize now, is my education really started in my internship.
Yeah.
Because, again, we've had interns come into Fairlawn that are smart guys, smart girls, brilliant, like understand, can name every single muscle in the body, can name exactly the insertion points, name exactly what they do, name what's working when. But when you put them in front of a group and say, okay, coach the warm-up, now it's all of a sudden like, they get, they become, it's hard. So like that's when the experience is the real education. You have to get hands-on, and you have to get hands-on as fast as you can get hands-on.
Yeah, it's one thing I wish anyone who is interested in personal training, I want them to take a public speaking class.
That too.
In Parisi, I tell people, you're on a Broadway show. Be on Broadway first, and then once you get comfortable with that, you can do the other things. But please don't talk about muscle insertion points. Please don't do that until you can go out, do an ADW, and get all 10 kids or all 10 athletes or the team in front of you to be engaged. Because it's a Broadway show, probably first.
Yeah.
I don't say that as a slight to the industry.
Yeah, man.
When you work with groups, like, you're on display.
Yeah.
In Fairlawn, in Parisi, you're on display first. You have parents watching you. You have other athletes watching you. I'm sure that's a big piece.
100%.
What else have you done to help build your brand?
There's a social media thing, which I hate. I absolutely hate social media.
The best coaches hate social media.
Yeah. But not to say that I'm the best coach.
No,
but it's totally just...
no, if you're if you're coaching, like when I'm training, like if you go to my business's social media, there's no videos of my clients.
Yeah.
And that's everyone, like, at business people where they're like, why aren't you posting before after? Why aren't you posting transformations? Why aren't you getting testimonials? Because I'm with my client. Like, I'm with my client. That is their job. I don't put time limits on my sessions anymore, which is completely unique. Everything's about an hour. But like, if the workout's done in 50 minutes, 45 minutes, 75 minutes, like, you're with me until we're done.
Yeah.
Like I told you, this podcast, you're here until the conversation is over. I don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't roll like that. Like, it's a great from the commercial gym setting, but we just don't do that, right? And I think that a lot of people who are very passionate about coaching specifically, which you've mentioned, right? If you're coaching, you're like, not like, hey, pull on, like, I'm sure they're like, stop, I need to get this Like, no, you're like, I'm going to coach you and I'm with you right now, so it's super hard. So anyway, I just didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's you have to buy into it and you have to be hungry to do it, right? And one of the biggest things that, I've learned from Coach Sully is going to games and now supporting your athletes, your clients in ways that are outside of them giving you money, you know what I mean, or them paying for a session. So attending an athlete's game, showing that you care, is going to help build your brand because other teammates are going to see it. Obviously, you're going to talk to your athlete or the athlete's parents, and then you're going to get introduced. That's going to help build your brand. And that's one of the biggest things because that becomes your free marketing. One, if you're a performance coach, you more than likely like sports and you like watching sports. Yeah. So you're enjoying yourself by watching a competitive game, and then you have a sense of pride where, your athlete's one of the fastest guys or girls in the field. And it's like, well, you're a part of that. Yeah. Right. So, that's a big part of building your brand. You have to get out of the four walls of your facility and display what you can do, outside.
Yeah. This is a question I was going to ask Sue Falsoni, one of the Perform Better presenters here this weekend. And people can tell by the backdrop, we're still Parisi Summit, Arizona. We're collecting interviews, people. We're collecting interviews. How important is it to you to have hobbies outside of sports performance?
Super important because, again, for mental health purposes, if you do the same thing over and over and over and over, it doesn't matter how much you love it, you're going to start losing the passion and losing the fire. So you have to be able to disconnect and find something else that you enjoy to kind of like give yourself that mental break.
Yeah.
To stay sharp at that one thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if you found this, like when I was in my 20s, like I identified hard as a performance coach, a personal trainer. Like I had the gallon jug, everything was a cutoff. I was like, I'm training, this is my day for this is my day. Like I was chasing numbers. Like I identified fully with the industry. Like that's what I was. And I didn't have a lot of hobbies that weren't training, right? Like training now is more than that for me, but I didn't have hobbies, so I like to talk to coaches. Like I think that's a big key to longevity is like, hey, how important is hobbies like that pull you away so that you can stay fresh? I know like you have young children, right? Like that will change your projection of an industry completely. But it's super important. I think that's important. Like people watching, listening, like you should have, I encourage you to have hobbies outside of whatever niche. Are you a niche or a niche guy?
Niche,
yeah. Outside of your sports performance industry, because man, like that shit is daunting. Yeah, over time, like it'll eat you alive. It'll eat you alive.
In my 20s, my hobby or my secondary passion was music.
That's why I asked. Yeah, that's why I asked.
Music a lot. Produce music. So when I was out of facility, I was able to mentally check out from performance coach and kind of check in to music producer, right? And then when that clicked, like they became like, and then once you have kids, now I can't do music anymore because my studio became a crib room, right? But hey, if I didn't have that, maybe today I wouldn't be a program director at the flagship.
I think so.
Yes, because I wouldn't have performed well because it would have, would have dwindled.
Done. Yeah, you would have been done. I think that's, I look for commonalities. I look for similarities. Like I said, I'm obsessed with the idea of career longevity in any industry. Like whether it be the restaurant owner, whether it be like Bill, I'm like, dude, like I was just talking to Jen Parisi about this. I'm like, guys, 30 something years. We're in the third decade. How? Talk to me. Because it doesn't just happen. Like you don't stick with something by mistake. That right? Like that doesn't work like that. You might accidentally start your career without knowing it, but you don't accidentally stay in a career. Yeah. And in this industry where it is very emotionally draining, like introvert, extrovert, whatever you are, like it's gonna knock you on your ass at some point.
Absolutely.
It's impossible to just to possibly combat it.
Yeah.
You're a Knicks fan.
I am a Knicks fan. Dude.
Were you sad or happy Julius Randle got shipped out? Where do you stand on Julius Randle? Because you either love him, you hate him.
And I think I've lived on both sides of those fences. I loved him and I hated him.
Happy to see him go, but you were fine when he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't fine with his performances in the playoffs, but part of me did want to see what it would have been like if he stayed healthy. And then when he came back, you know, if he was given the opportunity. But, you know, it's as a Knicks fan, you're also numb to a lot of things.
I don't know. It's a good year to be a Knicks fan.
Now it is. Even though it's a little bit scary, I don't think we're as good as I thought we were going to be. But playoffs is always a different story, so we'll see what happens when that starts.
I kind of checked out to the season, but I'm fully in. I'm a Pacers fan. Tyrese Halliburton's the point guard. He's the best point guard since Chris Paul's coming to the league. I know you have an affinity, I'm sure, for Jalen Brunson. Phenomenal player.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player. But Knicks Pacers round 2, healthy. We want it. Let's get to Game 7 again with a fully healthy Jalen Brunson, because that series last year was dynamic.
It was
awesome.
It was.
Is this what the pod you thought it was going to be like?
No, I don't know what to expect.
I thought we were just going to.
I think I just went in and just went for it.
It was great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah,
so I'm coming to Jersey like every month, every other month. We're gonna run it back.
We're still gonna get it back. I'm for it.
It's legit, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Good. This is good stuff.
Cool.
Dude.